सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम्। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्. We are in chapter 6 and have completed up to 27th sloka. We will have a quick recap of 27th sloka and then go further. In the previous class, Paramatma gave 7 definitions of samadhi or nididhyasanam. The definitions were, I just give the names: chitta uparamanam, atma darshanam, atyantika sukham, tattvanishta, atyantika labham, atyantika dukkha nivrutti, dukkha samyoga viyogam. So we'll proceed to the 27th sloka. Prasanta manasam hyenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti santa rajasam Brahma-Bhutam akalmaṣam. Prasanta manasam santa rajasam akalmaṣam Brahma-Bhutam yenam yoginam hi uttamam sukham upaiti. The supreme Ananda comes to this meditator who is free from impurities, whose agitations have subsided, whose mind is totally tranquil, and who has become Brahman. So, what is the result of this nididhyasanam? So, dhyana phalam Paramatma wants to mention. So, this is the starting point. Prasanta manasam hi yenam uttamam sukham upaiti. The benefit, the visible benefit one can observe is the highest peace will come to this meditator. Uttamam sukham means the greatest peace. A peace which is not determined by external conditions. Any other type of peace that I enjoy because I add, as long as I add, that peace is conditional peace. Conditional peace is not peace. Anything conditional is not real. This is one Vedantic lesson one must always remember. Anything conditional is fake. If you say I am secure, I have a lot of security because there is a money for me. I have enough insurance policies. Vedanta calls it conditional security. Because money and conditional security is not a real security. Because anything can go. What can go away is not peace. Similarly, the conditional happiness, conditional fulfillment, they are not real. The benefit of Vedantic meditation is unconditional peace, unconditional happiness, unconditional security. So here, Uttamam means unconditional, nirapeksha. I am peaceful. Why? If somebody asks, a jnani will answer, because that is my very nature. If you ask a fire, why you are hot, it will say it is my nature. So in the same way, a jnani will say it is his very nature. There are certain words, santa rajasam is used. Jnani's mind is peaceful and tranquil because he could avoid rajasa vritti in him. Rajasa vritti means what? The vritti which creates agitation in the mind. like kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsaryas. These are the various shades in the mind which create a lot of commotion and unrest in the mind. So, this meditator could process the Rajasic mind, and he could avoid all Rajasic thoughts, and then his mind is at peace. Akalmasham. Akalmasham means tamasic vritti. Tamasika vritti means moha vritti. So, Jnani will not have any type of impurity or kalmasham. This moha vritti is, I get deluded by the things around me. So, I get lured and, I get enticed by the things outside. I think that there is anandam, there is security, there is peace in that. So, I run around. Now, this is called moha vritti, tamasic vritti. So, this meditator could process the tamasic vritti also, the kalmasham also. In Panchadasi, Vidyaranya says, these vrittis, the thoughts, are of three types. The sattvic vritti, rajasika vritti, and tamasika vritti. Sattvic vritti, he calls it santa vritti, a peaceful thought, which is desirable, which makes your mind happy and tranquil. Whereas rajasika vritti, he calls it ghora vritti. Ghora vritti because it creates commotion, it creates lot of agitation in the mind. Mind is not at peace when you have ghora vrittis. Then the third one is tamasika vritti. Vidyaranya in Panchadasi he says is mudha vritti. This is the vritti of an ignorant person, an ajnani. So, as a wise person, one has to avoid the tamasika vritti and rajasika vritti. Then there is a word called Brahma-Bhutam. That means he becomes one with Brahma. This word we should not take literally. Because if you take literally, what happens? It gives a meaning that Brahma is somewhere else. You go and finally unite with him. That is not the message to be carried. You avoid the notional difference between you and Brahma. Brahma is Siddham. You are Brahma. Only thing is you should know. So that notional distance, the notional difference is removed from the mind. So this is what Brahma-Bhutam. If this conviction has taken place that I am Brahma, this Nischaya Buddhi settled in the mind, if it is settled through Shravanam and Mananam, what is the role of Nididhyasanam or Vedantic meditation? The Vedantic meditation is meant for enjoying the benefit of this knowledge. Natu jnana siddhyardam. It is not simply, get this knowledge academically. So, how do you know that you have accommodated this knowledge? How do you know that you have assimilated this knowledge? It is simple. If you have assimilated this knowledge, you are at peace. So, our problem is we seem to know and understand the teaching, but the promised benefit doesn't seem to be in me. Because scriptures present that jnani is free from various emotional problems. Dukkeshu anudvigramanaha, sukheshu vigataspruhaha, vita raga bhayakrodaha, stitadir muniruchyate. Jnani's state of mind is talked about in the scriptures. So some people, they cannot get this benefit and they doubt the knowledge. If the people are not getting the benefit, it is not the fault of the knowledge. It means the processing is not done completely. That chitta suddhi, chitta ekagrata, chitta vaisalyata, he has to get it. That means he has to do karma yogam, or he has to do more and more sravanam and mananam. So this is what we say. Swamiji gives an example of another Swami who became blind due to diabetes. So he is ever bubbling with joy and ever happy and always rejoices within himself, in spite of the loss of pair of eyes. So he says that Guruvayurappan has taken away my eyes so that I need not see these rubbish things. He yells at the people who have eyes, saying that the people have to struggle how to close the eyes, how to concentrate on the nose or on the brukuti. Like that, they have to struggle a lot. Whereas I don't need to struggle a lot because the Lord is always with me. Always he resides in my heart. So, like that, he is having the utmost happiness in spite of the blindness due to diabetes. So, a doctor wanted to treat him and he promised that he will get back the vision. But the Swami said, I don't need it. I am happy without it. So, like this, a jnani, in spite of the situations, he is happy because he tapped that resource. He knows that he is the source of happiness. So this is the advantage. Then we will go to Sloka number 28. Yuñjannevaṃ sadātmānaṃ yogī vigatakalmaṣaḥ sukhena brahmasaṃsparśamatyantaṃ sukhamaśnute evaṃ sada atmanam yuñjan yogī vigatakalmaṣaḥ brahmasaṃsparśamatyantaṃ sukhena asnute. Evam means thus, yunjan, constantly engaging, atmanam, the mind in meditation, vigatakalmaṣaḥ yogi, the purified yogi sukhena asnute, effortlessly he attains atyantam sukham brahmasaṃsparśam. Effortlessly, this meditator gets limitless ananda which belongs to Brahman. Brahmasaṃsparśam means the ananda is the property of that Parabrahma. So the very ananda he gets. Constantly engaging the mind. The purified yogi effortlessly attains limitless ananda which belongs to Brahman. The word effortlessly, some people they translate as asankalpitam. Asankalpitam, if you take the dictionary meaning, it suits. But it leads to a wrong kind of understanding because there is a word in science, asankalpita pratīkāracharya. So this asankalpita pratīkāracharya means involuntary reaction. Involuntary action, you can say. You are sleeping or you are doing some work, then the mosquito bites you, then immediately your hand goes there. So this is a kind of reaction which is prompted or which is triggered by your medulla oblongata. So this particular thing, this is triggered by the internal mechanism. This is a process. It doesn't require any special training. Whereas here, what we are talking is subconscious mind. When you have that, reality stayed in your mind for good, then it sinks, it gets digested, and in the subconscious mind, it settles. So whenever you want, it surfaces. So the natural process takes place, aham Atma. So this is what we say effortlessly. So he gets ananda effortlessly, means without any prayatna, without any need of doing something. This becomes a natural event. So, Atmanam sukhamaśnute. In the previous sloka, it was said that Uttamam sukham upaiti. The same idea is again repeated. Instead of Uttamam sukham, Atyantam sukham asnute. That is the word used here. Both are same. So, Shanti is not jnanam. The meditator gets Shanti. Shanti means it is not jnanam, it is jnana phalam. So, he starts deriving the benefits of the meditation. What did meditation do? Meditation did not even produce Shanti. Jnanam has to automatically produce Shanti. But our ways of thinking was an obstacle. Through meditation, what we did, we removed the obstacle. The jnanam naturally gives Shanti like opening the tap. When I open tap, I am not bringing down the water. Water is coming down as a result of what? Not because of my effort. It is coming down as a result of Bhagavan's law. What law it is? Law of gravitational force. But in the tank, the jalam should be there. If jalam is there in the tank, it should come in the tap. You need not even do any prarthana to the Lord. But if you say it did not come in my house, then there must be some obstruction in the tap. So you have to remove that obstruction. So when you complain that you are not getting this anandam, that means there is an obstruction. The obstruction is the processing you have to complete. That chitta suddhi, chitta ekagrata, chitta vaisalyam you have to achieve. Previously, a situation produced too much ashanti. But now the same situation brings a little less ashanti. And any transformation is gradual. It will not be all of the sudden. A transformation will not take place overnight. So, all these viparita bhavanas will gradually be erased. All these viparita bhavanas will get erased gradually. Everything like anger is a viparita bhavana. Frustration is a viparita bhavana. So, we are so great experts that naturally we get frustrated. No effort is required because well-established frustration, nishtha, you are in that nishtha. Therefore, vigatakalmaṣaḥ means all the viparita bhavanas, habitual negative thinking is processed. So you are free from all kalmashas, all viparita bhavanas, all unhealthy ways of thinking. So this is what we say. When will it happen? Sada. 24/7 it should happen. So when you take a photograph, especially in a place like Kodaikanal, when the waterfall is there, you want to take a photograph. So the photographer is also in the waterfall. So what will you do? If he wants full picture, he has to go back. But if he goes back, he will fall into waters. So what you do, you only go back. Because you see at your backside, if it is safe, you move backwards and see that the full vision is captured. So in the same way, we have to do prayatna in such a way that we get our chitta suddhi and chitta ekagrata and chitta vaisalyam. So if you process your mind, you will definitely get this ananda. Sukhena asnute. So it is not a difficult task. It is easy, but only thing is you have to start trying it. Sloka number 29 up to 32. These slokas, they emphasize on dhyana phalam. So what are the various advantages of doing meditation? Sarvabhūtasthamātmānaṃ sarvabhūtāni cātmani ichyate yoga yukta atma sarvatra samadarshanaha. Yoga yuktaha atma sarvatra samadarshanaha atmanam sarvabhūtastham sarvabhūtāni ca Atmani ichyate. Yoga yukta atma, one whose mind is disciplined through meditation. Ichyate, perceives. Atmanam, the Atma. Sarvabhūtastham, in all beings. Sarvabhūtāni, and all beings. Atmani, in the Atma. Samadarshanaha, he has the same vision. Sarvatra, everywhere. One whose mind is disciplined through meditation perceives the Atma in all beings and all beings in the Atma. He has the same vision everywhere. Yoga Yuktatma is the name of the Jnani. Atma means mind here, not Sachidananda Paramatma. Jnani whose mind is Yuktaha. Yukta means disciplined or saturated with the knowledge, with the Atma Vidya. So it is so much soaked with Atma Vidya. So with this, whatever the field he undertakes, he always thinks of this Atma only. Whatever the transactions he does, he always thinks of Atma. So this is the thing. Like, a musician always thinks of music only because he revels in music. Even if a baby cries, he finds apasa in that. If you sit under an apple tree and if apple falls, what will you do? You simply eat it. But what happened to Newton? He did not do that. He gave the gravitational laws. So he is in that nididhyasanam. He is always reveling in the Prakriti Sutras. Therefore, he could do that. So a person who is fully soaked with Atma, what will he do now? So he sees Atma everywhere. He sees Atma in every human being. He doesn't have any Bheda Buddhi. He doesn't have Varna Bheda. He doesn't have rich and poor Bheda. He doesn't have any status Bheda. So he has that Atma Darshanam only in every person, every being. So such person, Sarvatra Samadarshanaha, because he is used to dwell on Atma round the clock. Even when he interacts with the people, he does not lose the sight of Atma in everyone, the essential nature in everyone. That is why he doesn't lose temper. He is always cool. Therefore, Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. Sarvatra Samadarshanaha means Sarvatra Atma Darshanaha. He sees Atma, his own Atma everywhere. And it does not mean he doesn't see the difference. He is seeing only his Atma everywhere. Certainly he sees the intellectual, emotional differences. But in and through these differences, he does not lose the sight of oneness of Atma. Just as in and through all the ornaments, what do you see? Sarvatra Samadarsanam, Sarvatra Swarna Darsanam. Even you see the chain, you know that bangle is different from chain, but you know both are gold. The Jnana Nishtha helps him to achieve this Samadarsanam. And because of this Samadarsanam, he enjoys the equality in every being. He will always be at peace. He will not lose his temper. He will not lose his balance. Because he sees his own Atma in others. And what is his vision? Sarvabhūtasthamātmānaṃ. He sees Atma as residing in every living being, just as a person appreciates the space as present in every room, every hall, every pot, every cup. The space is within the hall. Similarly, the Atma is within everyone. This is the Sarva Antaryamitva Darshanam. Everywhere that Antaryami is there, that Ishvara is there, that Ishvara is my real self. So, sarvabhūtāni cha ātmani. So, the second stage is, he sees every being within himself. So, the first stage is, the space is there in this hall, the space is there in the pot, the space is there in this cup, the space is there in all bodies. That was the stage 1. From that stage, he grows further and he says, in fact, all the halls, all the cups, all the pots, all the bodies are within this space. That means initially he thought, in every being his Atma is there. Every being his Atma is only reflecting. Now he goes further. He says, in Atma only all these bodies are there. All the bodies are within that Atma. Why? All the bodies, the entire universe is within that Atma. So this is what we call the Atma channel. So he has got 2 channels. One is the local channel, the worldly channel, where he transacts day in and day out and encounter a lot of problems. And whenever there is a crisis, he can switch over to the Atma channel and enjoy the Atmanandam. So, that is the advantage. For local Anandam, that is the Koshanandam, he goes to the world channel. For absolute security, for absolute peace, for absolute happiness, he switches over to Atma channel and derives the pleasure of the Atmanandam, derives the peace, happiness and security from that Atma channel. So this is the 29th sloka, then 30th sloka. Yomam pasyati sarvatra sarvancha mayi pasyati tasyaham na pranasyami sachame na pranasyati. Yomam sarvatra pasyati sarvancha mayi pasyati tasya aham na pranasyami saha chame na pranasyati. Aham na pranasyami, I am not lost. Tatra, to him. Yaha pasyati mam, who sees me. Pasyati sarvam, and sees everything, mayi, in me. Sahacha, he also. Nacha pranasyati, is not lost. Me, to me. I am not lost to him who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me. He also is not lost to me. Here in this verse, Krishna Paramatma gives a small note. He is just briefly referring to a topic which will be discussed at length, elaborately later. It is the topic of bhakti. Paramatma is going to deal it in the next chapters, that is in the second Shatkam. In the 7th chapter onwards, he will talk about bhakti. So, he is giving a hint here. So, we understand that Atma is sarvavyapakam and it is there in all bodies. That Atma is in my body and that is my very Swarupam. Therefore, I am all-pervading Atma. So, Sarvatra Atma Darshanam is equal to Sarvatra Ishvara Darshanam. Sarvatra Ishvara Darshanam is the pinnacle of bhakti. This is the parakasta of bhakti. This is possible only through Atma Jnanam. Because if you do not know the Atma Jnanam, you do not realize that Bhagavan is everywhere. You stick to a name and a form and a place and a time. So you give all kinds of limitations to God. You limit him with a name, you limit God with a form, with a place, with a time. So you think that he gives his darshanam and get away. And you feel that is the ultimate thing. Once he leaves you, you are in utmost dukkha. Because he is there right now, a moment back, now he is not there. In Bhagavatam, there is a Geetam called Gopika Geetam. So, Gopikas, they cry, they lament a lot because Krishna leaves them. So, this is Viraha Geetam. This type of problem will not come for a jnani because he will not miss him. He will miss only when he is limiting God to a place. If God is everywhere, he cannot miss him. It is very difficult for him to miss the God. So, Apara Bhakti, Dvaita Bhakti, these are all Bheda Bhakti. They talk about the Bhedam, the difference between the ultimate and the Jiva. So, you have to graduate yourself, you have to lift yourself to Paravidya. So when you learn Paravidya, when you understand Paravidya and digest it, you realize the sarvavyapakatvam of the God, and then you enjoy his presence everywhere. If you limit the God to a human form, Maya Manushavesham, Lord himself declares in one place in Gita, Avajananti mam mudah manushim tanum asritam. So these mudhas, these ignorant people do not know. They think that I am residing in this human form. Avajananti mam mudah manushim tanum asritum. They limit me to this human form. They are all mudhas. So, what is the highest form of God? That is Atma Swarupam. Therefore, the Atma Darshanam is nothing but Ishvara Darshanam. If you understand, if you assimilate the Atma, if you digest the Atma and understand it, then that means you are having Ishvara Darshanam. Yaha mam sarvatra pasyati. Yaha means what? Like we mentioned in the previous sloka about the jnani, a jnani perceives Atma everywhere. Jnani will have Atma Darshanam everywhere. Whatever he sees, whatever he hears, every experience is the Atma Anubhavam. If you join these two slokas, 29th and 30th, what is the meaning? So, if you look at Atma everywhere means to look at the Lord, look at the Paramatma everywhere. If Atma is the Chaitanya Swarupam, then Paramatma is also Chaitanya Swarupam. So it is not that, we are not mentioning about the Paramatma who is born on a particular day, like Janmashtami, and then leaves his avatara. It is not that Maya Manusha Rupam. We are talking about his ultimate Swarupam. So it is not wrong to have the Manusha Kalpita Rupam. It is good initially to have concentration, to have a one-pointed focus. Then slowly you have to shift to Nirguna Paramatma. Yaha mam sarvatra pasyati. Sarvatra means in all bodies. The Chaitanyam is nothing but the God. If you see the sentience in the body, it is all because of the God. So, you need not close your eyes to see God. Some people think that, you have to make antarmukham and then close, go to meditation, you can see God, see colors. No. The God is right in front of you. You close the eyes, God is there. Open the eyes, God is there. You cannot, in fact, miss the God. So, you can see in every living being, every being for that matter, the God's presence. So, tasya aham na pranasyami. Tasya aham na pranasyami means for such a jnani, bhakta, I am always available. God is promising. Tasya aham na pranasyami. I am never an unknown or an unseen thing for such a jnani. I am always available because he sees me everywhere. So it is not possible for anyone to threaten a jnani because he is always in the close quarters of God. So even if somebody says, I will leave you, he is not worried because he is having that absolute security. The God security is always in the lap of God. There is a story. The minister said to the king that he is superior to God. Then the king wondered, you explain your statement. The minister said, Raja, if you are angry with someone, you can banish him from your country so that he has to leave your country. This is called Desha Bahishkara Siksha. You can do that. But whereas God cannot do that, because God is all pervading, it is not possible for God. So that way you are superior. Whatever God cannot do, you are able to do that. So like that, there is a story. So this is how we have to understand that God is all pervading. That means you can always see him. And nachame na pranasyati. So Paramatma is further promising that he is also not away from me. He is always having darshan of myself, and I am also taking care of him. So our bondage is such a firm one, we cannot go divided. We are always together. So nachamena pranasyati, he is also not different from me. He is also not away from me. So in 7th chapter, the coming chapter, Paramatma says, Jnani tu Atmaiva me matam. In fact, Jnani is myself. He declares that I am no different from the Jnani himself. Jnani and me, both are same. This is what Paramatma wants to say. So, in this particular section, that is starting from 29th up to 32nd, Paramatma is unfolding various advantages of Jnana Phalam. So we have 2 slokas about the Jnana Phalam. More we are going to have it in the future classes. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanam Astu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudatyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.